Question so many of you get on a Monday morning. Did you see last night's Game of Thrones? Tonight here, where it all started, the little boy looking out his window. It all started in this rough and tumble New Jersey neighborhood. A little boy, and these 5 blocks were his life. His only view of Staten Island across the way.
Staten Island.
A beautiful sight for a boy with an imagination. Because that island would become this. King's Landing in Game of Thrones, the HBO hit watched by millions every week. Do you remember looking out on the water out at Staten Island? And was your imagination running wild as that little kid?
We were poor. We had no money. It was a low-income housing project. We didn't even own a car. We really never went anywhere. But our living room windows in the apartment we lived in for most of that period looked directly out on the water. I would see those lights across the way, and they were like a magical realm to me.
A magical realm he would later write about. 5 books so far, in the middle of his 6th. The 7th will be his last. Romance, power, families at battle.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
All of it born in the mind of that little boy. Even the wedding, everyone wore red. I received this tweet and I was wondering the same thing. Have you been to some pretty awful weddings in your lifetime?
Actually, no. No one has ever died at a wedding that I've been to, as far as I know.
But they die here. King Joffrey, king no longer, the spoiled, scheming son, a teenager who ruled with cruelty.
Bring me his head.
When you look back to George as that little boy, looking out on Staten Island, did you know a little King Joffrey on the street? Was there a little punk?
Oh, there were a number of them, yeah. I was a shy kid. I was the smart kid. There were also always bullies in school, people who made life miserable for the smart kids and the shy kids. And I think Joffrey was partly made up of all the bullies I ever knew in my life.
I'm curious because people want to know, how did you come up with these strong female roles?
They can live in my new world or they can die in their old one.
You know, there are strong women and there are weak women, there are heroic women and there are selfish women. I just try to write individual characters, and being male or female is almost secondary to the fact that they're people.
One viewer wants to know, what character would you play?
If I could magically clap my hands and become a different person, then it would be cool to play, Jon Snow, say, who's much more of the classic hero. Everybody wants to be the classic hero, right?
This home, right here in Santa Fe, where those 2 families rule here too.
The whole Lannister family here, and here's the Starks down here.
And for those executive producers who brought his words to life.
I love the TV show. I have to get out there at some point and do a cameo. I did a cameo on the original pilot, but unfortunately then we had some recasting and reshoots, and I was left on the cutting room floor, sad to say. My brilliant performance was lost for all time, but I'll sneak in some other episode, so keep an eye out.
You heard it here first. There's going to be a cameo from George before this is over. Lastly, what would you say to that little kid on that 5-block radius growing up there across from Staten Island?
I say, eventually you will get out of Bayonne. But I still love Bayonne.
But he still loves it. And so we choose George R.R. Martin. And by the way, when I asked him who his favorite character is, Tyrion Lannister. I hope to see you in 2020 later. Diane back on Monday. And from all of us, happy Easter. Good night.